So this pandemic has been, from a kind of worker's perspective, what some people would call a reveal moment, and it's been true for a lot of different things. And maybe in a few minutes we'll talk a bit about the safety issues that are involved here. But very broadly, before the pandemic, you had a lot of people in some parts of tech and in academia and journalism saying that, we were now into this new kind of world in which work was going to be very heavily fragmented, and that people were essentially going to be everyone was in there going to be sort of an entrepreneur in their work life, and sort of detached from both each other and from what would have in the past been called their employer. And you saw a lot of companies that actually employ a lot of people arguing and control them very rigidly, very rigorously, arguing that they weren't actually the employer. Now, what's happened in the pandemic is that these people are now unemployed. The people who were working in this model are now unemployed, and they need unemployment insurance. They need incomes when they're unemployed, and they need health care when they're unemployed. And it turns out that we really, as a society, can't afford a model in which we pretend that large parts of our workforce are not actually connected to employers and don't actually need the protection of a social insurance safety net. And so that whole model, that whole sort of fantasy, I think, is kind of over. And the measure of it being over is that in the coronavirus bill, the CARES Act that was passed in Congress, the people who are at the heart of this, Uber and Lyft employees, which is what they really are, were given unemployment benefits. The only problem is that Uber and Lyft haven't paid the premiums. So, I think Uber and Lyft should tell their mailroom to expect a bill because one is coming. And I also think that the fantasy, again, the sort of self-serving fantasy of Silicon Valley billionaires that their employees aren't their employees is kind of over.